Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Melissa and this is Melissa Knits for Fun. Well, today we've got quite a few things to talk about. I have a little funny story about my brother. I have some whips that I'm working on. No finished objects this week, but boy, did I sure think that I was going to get a couple of them finished, and I'll have to tell you the tale about those. One of them I played yarn chicken and I have lost big time. Luckily, I'll be able to get another ball of yarn with no problems. All right, let's get started, and I will tell you what I'm wearing. So what I am wearing is the waffle tee by the Knit Pearl Girl. It is one of my test knits that I got completed. I'm not going to go in great detail because I did go in detail last episode when it was a finished object. What I will say is this is such a nice pattern. It's just gorgeous. And this yarn, it is so soft. I mean, I'm sitting here, it's a silk and cotton and something else blend. I think maybe viscose. But it is a sport weight and it's a little heavier than I was expecting. And with the blend, it's a little warmer. I wore it the other day and it was kind of warm by the end of the day. Today it's been no problem. We're in May and it's finally up to 59. It's been in the low 50s all day, so this has felt very, very good. But this yarn is just beautiful. This is the Noro Sonata yarn. And this is where the funny story about my brother comes in. So I love this yarn. I've talked about it a lot. I like the yarn. I like the feel of the yarn. I like the color of the yarn. I like the fact that it's kind of tonal and it kind of stripes a little bit. I really like the yarn. I don't like that it is a slubby yarn. Well, the other night I was talking to my brother and he's like, Melissa, because I had told him to watch this last episode because of the fact that I had worked on his sweater and that it was a visual representation of how much I loved him. So he watched it and he said, I have a question. He said, I've noticed a few episodes where you have said you've called the yarn something. And I just kind of thought, I don't think she said what I think she said. And I just kept going because he usually reads when he watches my podcast. And he listens to it more than watches, unless he hears his name. And so this time, though, he said he ran it back to listen again because he was like, she cannot be calling the yarn that. That cannot be what she's saying, but he still couldn't figure out what I was saying. He thought I was saying slutty yarn, not slubby. And I was like, no, S-L-U-B-B-Y, not, not slutty. So I thought that was pretty funny. So now I have a new name for my yarn, It's slutty yarn instead of slubby yarn. Now, having said that, I have no idea what it says if y'all turn on captions. So who knows what that one says. All right, I just thought that was kind of funny. And as I said, there's not a whole lot to say about this other than it is a really, really nice pattern. It's very well written. And it is a quick knit. Even though this is on a US 2.5 or a 3mm needle. This is a quick knit. I got about 42 rows into this and realized that I had developed a blind spot and I had just completely not seen one whole column of stitches. So I had left it out. And it's going to make a big difference in the pattern, in the size, in everything. So I had to rip out about 42 rows and re-knit them. And before I knew it, I was back where I was. And I will say the body part, when you get to just the stockinette, it does go a little bit slower. It is a US 2.5. I've got a couple more of those over here that are the never-ending tops. But I also have a couple, these next two, that are on large needles. This is my test knit. My one and only I've got on my needles right now, but not the one and only that I'm doing or going to be doing. And I'll talk about that in just a second. But this is the Cove Raglan by Sophie Hemmings with the Knit Pearl Girl. And you can see it's got a little raglan there. It's a 5-stitch raglan. It doesn't show up as good as if it was lighter yarn, but that's okay. The fit of this is beautiful. And what Sophie has done is this is an update to the original Cove sweater. And her Cove is a drop shoulder sweaters. So Cove 2.0 is going to be the drop shoulder and the raglan and a vest. And I chose to test knit the raglan because I love a good raglan. And let me tell you, I am obsessed with this beautiful collar. Obsessed, I tell you. I will have more than one of these in my life. And I'm going to, the next Monday sweater I knit, I'm going to make it a 2x2 instead of a 1x1 folded collar. I am obsessed with it. It looks so good and it's so nice and squishy and feels so, so good. So I am knitting this out of the Rowan Felted Tweed in the color Bilberry, and I am holding it with the Rowan Mohair in the color Black Currant. I thought I was going to get this done today. I am so, so close. And I've got like 3 inches of ribbing. I thought I was going to at least have it down to where I was ready to start the ribbing, but I've still got a couple more inches before I do that. And this is on a US size 8 or a 5mm needle, so it's going really quick. And I should have this done next week with no problem. Now, it is not due until September, and this new updated pattern will not be released until then. But if you already own the Cove sweater, you should get the update. And then if you buy it then, you'll have all of these things. Now, the other test knit, I said last week that I had put in for a test knit for Melanie Rountree for the Vine, the Women's Vine Pullover, I think is what it's called. And I had 2 yarns I wanted to do swatches for. I did do the swatches. And I'm going to show you. There's this one. And you can see, if I hold it up really close, it's this beautiful cable. This is going to be down the sleeve. It's this really pretty cable. But I feel like that you really lose the cable because it is a marled type of yarn. And so I swatched for this one, and look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Well, I decided I am going to knit the sweater out of this. But with this, I'm going to do, last year, around Christmas time, Rachel Ilsley with Unwind Knitwear released a free pattern for just a basic raglan. I don't remember the name of the pattern, but it's a basic raglan, and it would just be beautiful in this yarn. It's a worsted weight yarn, which is what this is. So I'm going to make that pattern out of this yarn because, oh, this is 100% cotton yarn. It is so, so incredibly nice. I wouldn't want a worsted weight t-shirt out of 100% cotton yarn, but I think that it will be a beautiful raglan. So I'm going to use this for that. And meanwhile, I'm going to use this for that Vines pullover. This is the Wool of the Andes in their worsted weight, and the colorway is Columbine. I will have this cast on next week. I have actually 3 things that I need to get cast on. This is one of them that I will get cast on. And so expect to start seeing this in the test update section. So I will have another test knit going. I'm not going to be bereft. All right. Now, the other thing that I knitted that I thought I was going to have done this week and lost at Yarn Chicken in such a big, big way that I am going to have to buy another ball of yarn. There is no way around it. I got the body done for the Tolsta Tee, and this is the one that I've had as a whip. It was a whip whenever I went into the Tolsta Tee cowl, or not Tolsta Tee, but we're doing a Tolsta cowl, tanks and tees. And this was my whip. The other thing I'm going to be casting on this week is going to be another Tolsta in a fingering or a 4-ply in that pink bamboo pop that I showed y'all last week. And I will get that cast on this week as well, because this will be done as soon as I get another ball of yarn. Now, I really thought I was going to get it done, but I did get the body done, and I was completely out of yarn. I just have to do the sleeves, and I think you do, it's something like 8 or 9 rows, and then you do ribbing. So it's not very many rows, so I will have this knocked out pretty immediately. And I love this pattern. This is the Tolsta Tee by Rebecca Clow, and this is my 5th one. I've got 4 that are all, well, one of them is a thin striped. I wanted a thick striped. My very first one was a thin stripe. Then I've got 2 that were solid colors made out of the same yarn that I used for this. And then one that I made a 4-ply out of Coast, and I actually made it a size too big. It just doesn't fit right, so I don't wear it as much. But speaking of the yarn that I made this out of, this is the Sandisk Yarn Lena, and it's just in the colorways black and white. And like I said, I wanted a big striped black and white sweat or t-shirt, so that's what I have done. Now, I want to talk for just a second about the Tolsta cowl that we're doing. It is such a fantastic group of ladies in there, and it's about 50-ish people, so there's always somebody in there that's active, so when you ask a question, you usually get an answer fairly quickly, and everybody has been so helpful, and there's been conversations cropped up about cats, and about yarns, and about other patterns. We've shown off some other patterns that have been done, shown progress, pictures, and it's a great, great mix of people. There are people in there that I know in real life. My friend Teresa that I talk about, that me and Teresa and Michelle, we go on girls trips together. She is taking part. Dana and Belinda from the Yarn Shop are taking part. And we have added a couple of prizes since I talked about it before. Rebecca is giving a pattern. I'm going to give a pattern. And then the wonderful Paloma of... I've completely drawn a blank on her Etsy store. It's Cozy Critters Crafts or something like... I'll put it down here. I don't want to continue to speculate. I will put the name of her Etsy shop down here, and I'll also link it in the description. But she makes all of these cute little stickers and stuff. They are so, so cute. There are so many of them that are adorable. And so she has offered up a couple of sticker packs as prizes as well. And I appreciate that so much. Such a generous, generous offer. So there will be 4 prizes for this. And then I want to take a second to talk about some short row stuff, because one of the things that came up, and this is definitely a trust the process moment, but one of the things that came up was people were kind of struggling with the short rows a little bit. If you've never done short rows on a raglan where it crosses your raglans, this can get very confusing. So where she places the beginning of the round marker is at one of these raglans. So what you do is you get there and you're going to start your short rows. And so you knit. And you increase on this side of your raglan, and then you knit over here, and you get to this raglan, and you increase here, and you increase on the other side, and then you knit a few stitches. And then you turn it. And, or no, you don't get all the way down there. You only do one section of the raglans. So, but when you come back, basically what happens is you're splitting it in half. The body of your sweater is in half. So let's say that you're knitting and you go across these raglans when you're knitting. You increase those raglans. When you turn it to come back to the beginning of the round, and this is where I was wrong, the stitch is not at the raglan, it's in the middle of the back. So it's in the middle of the back. You start out, you're knitting, knitting, knitting. It has you go across these raglans you've increased. Then when you turn it around and you purl back, you just purl straight back to the beginning of the round. You don't do anything with those raglan stitches. But then when you get over here and you get to these raglan stitches, you increase on the raglans on the purl side. And then when you turn it back around and you knit, back to the beginning of the round marker. And it was throwing people off because it's like, wait a minute. I increased, but now I'm crossing the raglans again and I'm not doing anything with them. Well, if you were just knitting in the round with the raglan, you knit, you get to the raglan, you increase before the raglan, you knit whatever it is in the raglan, 1 stitch, 3 stitch, 5 stitches, 8 stitches, however many stitches is in the raglan. And then you get to the other side of the raglan, you increase on that side, and then you repeat that for the raglans, right? And there's 8 places in a raglan that you would do, the front and the back on both sides. So, and 2 stitches. So that's why I say 8. There's 4 places, 8 stitches. And then the next row, you just knit. You don't do anything with the raglans because you're just knitting those. And so when you split this up into two halves, and you're knitting and increasing with one raglan, when you purl it back, it's like if you were just knitting in the round, that would be your solid just knit round. But then when you get to these over here, you increase purl-wise, and then when you flip it around to knit, then you just knit it. So it's a little confusing. I'm not sure I made that any clearer, but it can be a little bit confusing, but this is one of those things, just trust the process, count your stitches every once in a while, make sure that you're on track. There's not a whole lot of short rows, so, you know, make sure that you're on track, count your stitches at the end of your short rows, and just make sure. First time I did one like that with raglans, where I had to cross raglans, was like, I'm not sure I understand this. But then once I wrapped my head around it and I realized, oh, well, if I was doing it in the round, it would have just been, I would have just been knitting all of it. It all made sense. All right. So that is this one. Again, not a lot to say. I obviously really, really love this if this is my 5th one. Cannot say enough good things about it. You should run out and knit a Tolsta. All right, now I am going to switch to a couple of gift knits. You'll see I only have 2 in here. I don't have Shauna's. I haven't really picked hers up. I knitted a little bit, but like less than a row on it, so there's nothing to show y'all. And then my brother's I haven't picked up either, so nothing to show you there. But the 2 that I've gotten quite a bit of work done, and there's a reason why I'm focusing on these. One of them is Sarah's, and this is the Coffee Date sweater by Samantha Guerin, and I am knitting this out of Wool Smiths, or Yarn Smiths, which is Wool Warehouse's in-house brand. Yarn Smiths in the colorway Fjord Blue, and it's their Merino DK, which is their superwash. And I am trying to get this to the point where I can have her come try it on soon. And so for this one, to get it in the round, I have, and you can see I have this one little, right there, this one little rib. So I have 12 rows before it is ready to join in the round. And then I can have her come over and try it on. And so I want to, and how I do things, I always try mine on as soon as I join something in the round, or I split for sleeves, whichever the case may be. If I'm doing a drop shoulder like this one, where I would, you know, join it in, or I would join it in the round. Or if I'm doing a raglan where I split for sleeves, as soon as I get it to where that I have sleeves, I am trying it on. I work like 1 extra or 2 extra rows just to set those stitches under the arms. Excuse me. And I then try it on, because if I have gotten if I've gone horribly wrong, and it's either so tight that I can't move, or it's just so big that it's like, I cannot continue going with this, it will just swallow me, I would rather rip out this much than rip out an entire sweater. I have learned from making things too large or too small. I need to check the fit as I go and adjust as I go. So I want Sarah to be able to try this on, make sure that the yoke depth is correct. I did knit it a little bit longer. It calls for 7.5 inches on the back before you do anything. I think it's about 8.5. She is taller than I am, so her yoke depth is going to be deeper than mine. So I will have this done possibly even tonight, joined in the round, and then I will set this aside. And so far, the pattern's just been great. No problem. It is fun. I am knitting me one of these. There is no question I am knitting me one of these, because this has been easy peasy, lemon squeezy. The pattern is very, very memorizable. I have completely memorized it. I will be able to knit this sucker and just keep knitting. And so it is super, super, super easy, and it's very potato chippy. It just, you know, I go and I'm like, oh, I did the little four sections, you know, because one of the little offsets, this smaller one is like a four row, and then this bigger one's like 10 or 12, I don't remember. And there's stockinettes in between, but it's really easy. I just knit. It's all going great. So I will definitely have me one of these. I will do some stash diving, and I will find me some DK weight yarn, and I will go to town, and I will have me one of these. But meanwhile, I'm also working on Brandon's moose sweater. And I have not gotten super far, but I have gotten this far. And it actually, if I hold it right, it is like this. So I got it all increased, and I did block it. I did a mid-project block just to make sure that the stitch gauge was right, because I want to make sure that it fits him. So now I am just in the process of, I've got to knit it to a certain length, and then I'll pick up the shoulders and I'll do all of that. And so then as soon as I get that done, I'm having the two of them come over. There is this great place called Akira that's a food truck, and they have the best ramen in town. And so Brandon the other day was like, oh, we could go there. And I'm like, honey, it's a food truck. It's hard to get in and out of. If you have a big vehicle, the parking lot's not very big. So what I'm going to do is they're going to come over and we're going to order from there and have DoorDash or somebody deliver it to us. And so they'll come over, they'll eat with me, and they'll try their tops on so that we can make sure that they are fitting. And this is the Moose Sweater by Kate Create Designs. And it's going to be absolutely beautiful. And I am doing it in the colors that she did. And this beautiful, beautiful deep dark navy blue. This is also Yarn Smith's. And this is the color navy. And the other colors are going to be like a cream for the background for the moose, and then a really dark chocolate brown for the moose. And there's a green little section, like a really dark hunter green in there. And I will show you, I was going to do it out of the Cascade yarns in merino. But this is what they call navy blue. See any difference? Brandon would not wear this. There is no reality, alternate universe that my son would wear something this bright. This is bright to him. He would not wear this. So Letha ordered it for me. I felt so bad because I was like, he just will not wear it. He will not wear it. Well, the good news is Dallin, Sarah's son, that I told y'all last week I'm going to do the zipper sweater light in, he will wear this. So I am going to make his out of this, and this will be the third thing that I cast on. And this is one of my acquisitions. I did buy this from Letha this week just to get a picture of it, make sure that he liked it, and to be able to get started. All right. And so there's that. Very exciting, right? I've gotten so much done. It will get exciting whenever we get down to where I'm doing the moose. That will be exciting. All right, and I'm going to move some stuff back over here because I do have some acquisitions and I don't want to have to move everything after the fact. And then I'm going to switch to my two summer tops that I'm working on, my two other ones other than the Tolsta Tee. And I have, these two are the never ending t-shirts. These are both on US 2.5 or a 3mm. This is the Cumulus Tee, and oh lordy, I have been knitting on this forever. I'm telling you, forever. And I did put the collar on. I put the I-cord on. I've been knitting on it, and look at that. There's just not a whole lot of underarm. But I know this is one of those projects that will go like so many of them do, which is I'll feel like I've been knitting on it forever and I'm not making any progress, and then all of a sudden there's a t-shirt. The Tolsta did that to me. All of a sudden it was like, whoa, there's a whole body. So this will do the same thing, I'm positive. This one did. It is the nature of the beast. But this is the Cumulus Tee by Petite Knit, and I'm knitting it out of the Knitting for Olive Pure Silk in the colorway Haze. Love this color. And right now it's very wrinkly because it's been laying there. And of course it's all scrunched up because I don't have it on a long needle. So it is what it is right now, but that is not a whole lot of exciting stuff. It's a very nice pattern. I know there are people that think that Petite Knit's patterns are a little confusing. I'm not one of them. I don't find her patterns confusing. So I really like her writing style, and everything that I've knit has just knitted up exactly like I expected it to, and this is no exception. And this yarn is one of my very favorite summer yarns. It is so nice. I do not have a problem with it growing and stretching and looking weird. But I also typically wash and dry them, right? I throw them in the washer, and I do throw them in the dryer. I don't dry them completely dry, but I will throw them in there until they're just damp. And then I pull them out and I lay them flat. So I don't really have a lot of problems with it growing or getting out of shape. And so there it is. And I do really like this color. I very much like this color. And I may have to get some heavier yarns in this color too, so that I can have a full length sweater, maybe a cable sweater out of this color. This might be one that I have to get if they have it in heavy merino. I might have to get it in heavy merino. All right. All right. So again, not a lot to say. That's just not very exciting. It's a regular Raglan t-shirt, and it's just stockinette. Now this next one's a little bit more exciting. It is also on a 2.5 or a US 2.5 or a 3mm. So it too is the never ending sweater, and I have knit and knit and knit and knit on it, and you can see, I mean, I do have more than I did a couple of weeks ago when I barely had an underarm. And this has been my meeting knit lately. I have had a couple of meetings where I have been doing a workshop and I've been talking, but not necessarily having to type things. And so I've been doing a lot of talking, and as I'm talking, I'm just knitting away because I'm very lucky. I do not have to look if I'm just stockinette. So I've just been knitting, 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 knitting. And so this is the Soul Mosaic by Claudia Quintanilla, or You Knit Toronto is another way that she's known. And this was released, it was part of our Fruity Knitting retreat. It was created for that, and then it was released afterwards. So we got it first. Obviously, since I went in February of 2025, I've been working on this for a little while. It's been hibernating over the winter. It just got picked back up. But when I picked it back up, I still had part of the back color work to do. So I did get the color work done. I got the front color work done. It's joined in the round, and I'm just knitting, 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 knitting. And I am using the Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino base this time in the colorway cream and navy blue. And this is delightful. I'm hoping, because it does have a little bit of wool in it, it's cotton merino, but it's 70% cotton and 30% merino. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to wear this in July and August. Pretty sure I will be able to, but we shall see. I think it'll be enough cotton. All right. And then finally, the last thing that I have to talk about, and my yarn fell behind me. The last thing that I have to talk about is the thing that has been like, knit me, hello, look where I am, look down, I'm here, knit me. I still haven't gotten super, super far, but you can see I've gotten a little bit further with this. It's starting to actually look like it may be a full sweater, which I'm going to tell y'all, this looks really small. Like, I hold this up and I'm like, that's too small. It's not going to fit. But then I try it on and it fits fine. And I know when I block it, it will relax, and cables do that, right? They relax and they grow, and it will be fine. It will fit me fine. It is measuring properly. I am in love with this. I would do nothing but knit on this. It is such a wonderful pattern. This is the Book Club Raglan by Sari Nordland. Guys, I don't know why I have not knit any of her other patterns yet. And I've got the Book Club cardigan as well. That one's going to be done. I've got the Billy sweater. That one's going to be done. Oh, I've got so many of her patterns, and they are going to be knit. Guys, oh my gosh, look at this. It is so nice. I have completely memorized these cables. They're not super hard, right? You can look at these little kind of horseshoe looking cables here, and I can look and see where the twist goes, so no problem there. I know which way to do those. And then in these, I know how cables work. So I know that I am, like right now, if I look at this, I know my very next round, because I just did a not cabling, so just a straight knit the knits, purl the pearls kind of thing, and do some seed stitch in here. I know that my next round, I am going to need to move one of these inner stitches to the outside, because now I'm going to start bringing this main cable back in. And if you understand cable construction, Because what happens with the cable, that if you're doing one where they're not just twisting, but you've got like stitches on either side and you're moving those stitches in and out, and this outside cable goes out and then it comes back in. How that happens is, as it's going out, what you are doing is you're taking that stockinette, the cable part, and you're saying, okay, let's say that I've just twisted it. So I've got these two and they're going. This one over here, I need to reposition these stitches to be on the other side of some of those out here. It can be one or two or whatever. For this pattern, it's one. So I take my two cable stitches, and the cable part is always in the front. Always. If I'm coming up to the cable, I'm going to hit that purl stitch. It's usually a purl on the outsides. I'm going to hit that purl stitch. I'm going to take that purl stitch. I'm going to hold it to the back. Then I'm going to knit these two here, because now these two are going to be on this side, and then I'm going to knit this one. So what it does is it takes these two stitches, right? You've got these 3 stitches. These 2 stitches now are put over here, and this one's over here. So now you've moved this over this way. And then you do your little center, whatever you do in the middle, and then you go over here and you're going to hit the cable part first. So those are 2 stockinette cabled stitches that you're going to hold and you're going to put in the front of the work, and then you're going to purl that, move it over, and do that. So on this side, these 2 stitches here and this one, you have moved them like this. So basically all you're doing is you're repositioning stitches, because you're getting stitches, you want them to go out and then back in. And when you get it out as far as you can, because you're always going to have at least one stitch out here. When you get it out as far as you're going to go, then you do a few rows where you don't do any repositioning, because that kind of sets that little lengthening. And then you start the process of moving them back in. And then all you're doing is you're taking those ones that you moved to the inside and you're moving them back to the outside. So it's just the reverse of what you've done. And that's how cables work. And if you understand how cables work, you get to where I can just look at it and go, yeah, I know what I need to do for the next row. Now, I do have my pattern out and I'm moving my tape so that I'm going up the chart, because I can't always tell. I'm usually pretty clear that, oh yeah, I need to do that, because it's usually I do one and then there's like what would be, if you were purling, there would be a purl row. You're not, because you're knitting in the round, but that's how I keep it straight in my head is, okay, I just did a cable. Now this would be the back side. Then I do a regular cabled row and I'm not cabling on it. And then the back side, and then my next one is a cable. I don't always keep track of it, so I do try to move it so that I know whenever I need to cable these. I know how to do these cables without anything, but I want to make sure I don't miss the cabling here and have some kind of weirdness going on. But this thing has been just calling to me. Like I said, it's the Book Club Raglan by Sari Nordland, and and this yarn is so incredibly soft and beautiful. It is not superwash. It is just merino. And it is just a regular merino yarn from, I got a cone from Woolly Yarn out of Latvia. And it is, the colorway is Demi-Toss, and it is just absolutely beautiful. And I am really enjoying this. And I will probably, well, I'm going to spend time on Brandon and Sarah's things, getting those done. And I'm going to cast on those other 3 things, and I'm going to try to finish these 2 up. But any spare time I have is probably going to go to this, because I pick it up and I start knitting on it. And I'm like, oh, I love cables. So I'm just like, oh, I'm in my happy place. So I've worked on this as much as I can this week. And that is where I'm at with that. And it is a very, very nice pattern. I've not found anything to be confusing in it. It was a little challenging at first when there were 4 different charts you had to keep track of. I'm not going to lie about that. It was a little challenging. It is not something I would say that a beginner should do. This one to me is more intermediate or advanced, really around that part where you have to keep those 4 cables going. You want something that is going to be easier, especially to do a cable. You know, when Melanie releases this Vines pullover, it would be perfect, because the only cable is, and it's just a twisted cable. You can see here, it's just a 2 by 2. So there's 2 stitches that I may be lying, it may be 3 by 3. Anyway, it's 2 or 3 stitches, but it's just a crossover. They're just crossing, and they're crossing the same direction every time. So this is a really simple cable pattern. So this is just all stockinette with the cable down the side. So this would be a great beginner's pattern. And I'm not sure if she is still looking for testers, but you can always ping her if you want to. I do know that one of the viewers, I think her name is Trish, is what I want to say, is Purple Yarnivore, is how she goes. Purple is her favorite color, and then I love Yarnivore. My yarn shop in San Antonio was Yarnivore, so I love that name, so I absolutely love her handle. She actually reached out, and she is in the test knit as well. Melanie is a fantastic designer to dip your toe into test knitting with. She, Rebecca, and Sophie, I think, are all excellent designers to dip that toe in. Like I said, I've only had one designer that I would never test knit for again. I've had some that are more enjoyable than others, and these are probably my top 3 for sure. Melanie is a great designer to dip your toe in and have it be your first test knit. If you're at all interested in test knitting, go sign up for her newsletter, and you can follow her on Instagram. It's Rountree Stitchery. I will link her because I will have this down there. Her name will be down there. And, you know, just sign up for a newsletter, and then you'll get test notifications. All right. So that is it for what I've knitted on. And then I've shown you one of the acquisitions. And the other thing, I've gotten one delivery from Wool Warehouse. It came today. It's pitiful. I mean, it's a big old, you get these little organza bags if you've ever ordered from Wool Warehouse. They give you the option. I've had them come in where, like, I've only bought a little bit. My little, let me see. I don't know if I have my candy girl down here. Oh, I do. I can feel it. Let me grab it because I'll show you what I'm talking about with the organza bag. Right, and this is a fairly small one. But they come inside the plastic are these little organza bags. The one I got today, it's huge. It's huge. But it has all the yarn, and this yarn for Brandon's sweater, these little, the ones for Brandon's sweater and the one for, Sarah's sweater, they're little 50-gram balls. So there's a lot of them to make a sweater. So I got the rest of the yarn for Brandon's sweater. And then I also got some stuff. I'd shown y'all a couple of weeks ago where I had said that I was going to use and sorry, this has got something wrapped around it. I had said where I was going to use the Superwash Merino for some dog sweaters for Sarah and Brandon's dogs. But I got to thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? I should probably use acrylic because these dogs are outside. They're outdoors. And so I decided I was just going to buy some acrylic because this is like $2 or less for a 100-gram ball of 100% acrylic. This is the Yarn Smiths. It's called Create. It's DK weight, and it is 100% acrylic. It's 100 grams, 290 meters, or 317 yards. It'll easily make a dog sweater for each one of these. And so I got 3 different colors to make because they have 3 little doggies. So they're going to get a red, a green, and a blue. All right. And it feels pretty nice, I have to admit. I would make a baby sweater out of that. And then the other things that I got, I did get, this is so close to some of the other blues that they have. I was hoping that this would go with the ultramarine. This is not going to go with the ultramarine. This, I think, is too purple to go with the ultramarine, so I don't think it's going to go either. The ultramarine's more blue. I did get this purple one to kind of see, and I think that might actually be a really good pairing. Maybe I'll get another Cove out of this color of purple. I'd have to buy it. Not doing that until it's on sale again. So, might be a year or more. Don't care. But I just got these to see how they would go together. And then I got this because I was really interested in this petunia, and oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. And one of these woolly knits, I'm not going to get up and get it, but that bright pink that I showed you that I'm going to pair with the green, I'm going to make another one where I hold it with this because it is a perfect match. And this is the Petunia colorway by Rowan in the Kid Silk case. Beautiful. I thought it was really close to the Candy Girl when I pulled it out, and I was like, it is not. It is completely different. It's a completely different color. I can show you. I really did think that it was, that you can see one is very much, this is very much more of a candy, like Barbie pink, and this is more, it's got more purple in it. So I will eventually have more of this so that I can do that. But again, when it goes on sale. And then the other ones, these are the ones that I told you just, I had one-offs that I needed to complete the color part for that Marie Wallen sweater. And so I went ahead and got these. One of them had been discontinued, but this looks very, very much like the color in the picture. So when I get ready to work on that one, which honestly may not be as long as I thought it would be now that I've got all of the colors. I'd still need clay, but that one's pretty easy to find. I can find that. Ozark Knitting Company, I can order it. I can get it from them. There's all kinds of places I can get that from. And so then I will show you the rest of them whenever I'll cast that on. But it's kind of calling my name now that I have all the colors. All right. And guys, that is it. Not anything exciting. I'm in my 3rd week with Amtrak. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I really, really like the people that I work with. I'm having a lot of fun. I've got some new challenges. I'm getting to do new things. It really is nice. And I am really hopeful that this will turn into a conversion and that this will become my new work family, because so far I have connected with everybody and they have been just absolutely fantastic. And other than that, I mean, not a lot's going on. Letha is in Chicago this week at H&H. Here's one here. There's the H&H Cologne. And then there's the H&H in the U.S. that's in Chicago. And she's gone to that. So there's no knit night tomorrow night, which I record on Wednesday. So when I say tomorrow night, I mean Thursday night. When y'all hear this on Saturday, you might think it's Sunday, but it's not. But there's no Thursday night knit night this week. So I will have a little extra time, because I will be honest, I do not get a lot of knitting done at knit night, because there is just too much to see, too many people to talk to, too much visiting to do, you know, in my mouth. Sometimes I cannot knit while I'm talking. Other times I can. It just all depends. So I will have a little bit more knitting time this week because of that, but then we'll be right back at it on Saturday. And then my friend Dylan graduates from college. I'm very excited for him. This weekend is college graduation. And not just Dylan, there are other people in the group that are graduating this weekend. But I will be going to a graduation party for Dylan on Saturday. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I think it's Saturday. What's today? 6. It might be Sunday. It might be the 10th. I'll have to look, but it's either Saturday or Sunday, but it's this weekend. And I'm very much looking forward to that. And I had to laugh because when he invited me on, I was like, okay, and I'm okay if you say no, but can I bring my knitting? He's like, of course you can. And in fact, you can sit and talk to my sister. So I'm very excited about that. Letha also will be going, so I'll know somebody else there. And I'm really excited to go and celebrate Dylan. And I want to celebrate everybody else too. I think Jordan, not the Jordan that I talk about that I give rides to and all. There is a male Jordan as well who comes in and crochets. I think he graduates this weekend as well. And there may be a couple of other people, but I do know that for sure Dylan, and I'm not positive if Sage, his girlfriend, is the same year or if she's even in school. Anyway, I know Dylan graduates. And Sage will be at the graduation party, I'm sure, so I'll know her as well. And now I'm just completely rambling. And it's just because I like spending so much time with y'all. I mean, I really do feel like that I have a community that I get to chat with. And it is so much fun. I look forward to this time every single week. I get so excited about being able to come and tell y'all all about my knitting and to hear about what y'all have been knitting. So be sure to drop me a line. Let me know what you've been working on, and let me know what you thought about the story about my brother and what he thought I was calling the yarn. I can for sure understand why he thought that, but I just thought that was pretty funny. All right. Well, guys, until next week, I hope y'all have a fabulous knitty week, and I will see you then.